of today, I still would probably vote Trump like I did both times. Biggest reason is I just didn't know what Harris stood for. She wasn't in the field long enough. I don't think her message got out well enough. And I think that was probably Democrats' fault why Trump got reelected, if I'm being honest. I think that's why I went with Trump the second time. First time I voted for him.
You just didn't do research, so it sounds like you're trying to find someone else a scapegoat for the problem instead of identifying yourself that you did no research. If you watched the debates, you would have heard
I knew
the
a lot of what
arguments.
she went into.
If you watch the debates, you would have heard the policies that she wanted to pass. Plus, if you looked at her policy website that was 70+ pages long, you would have seen all the specific details on the policies she wanted to pass. Now, there aren't even specifics of Trump. Trump literally didn't have a healthcare plan for literally 10+ years. He still doesn't have one to this day. He said he was going to repeal and replace the ACA when he first ran, and he still didn't have a healthcare plan. He was asked what the healthcare plan was in the debate, and he said concepts of a plan.
Okay, I don't think it's reasonable to expect one human being to have every single thing completely mastered by the time they get in there. I think that's an unrealistic expectation. No president ever has every single policy mastered as they're running. That's unfair characteristic.
Well, just a plan or an idea of a plan, not just like him saying, "Oh, we're going to do something." Concepts of a plan, like, come on, like you have to realize that like that's a double standard that you're applying to Kamala Harris that you're not applying to Trump. Trump didn't have to clarify his positions. Trump had no obligation to do so, but it's Democrats' fault why they lost because you didn't know her policies, even though you could have done basic research to find out what her policies were.
Right, but I didn't have to do basic research on Trump to understand what he was running for.
You just wait.
By
I'm
hearing
sorry.
it in media, hearing it on TikTok.
Wait, I'm sorry. Yeah, because you actually paid attention to the media. Why didn't you pay attention to Kamala Harris in the media? If you actually watched the debates, if you actually watched an interview, if you actually looked into what she was saying, maybe then you'd be able to make that type of determination. But you didn't even look into it in the first place.
How long did Trump campaign for?
How long did he, for the past 10 years, he's been campaigning?
Okay, how long did Harris campaign for? About 2 months.
Wait,
so it's not fair.
It was 107 days. And also, by the way, you could have done the research even in that time.
Fair.
Why are you acting like you couldn't do the research in 107 days? What the fuck are you talking about?
She did not differentiate herself enough from Biden in that little amount of time.
Do you already know about Biden's policies then?
More or less, yeah.
Okay, then why couldn't you make the determination on what her policies were if she couldn't differentiate herself from Biden? You know what Biden's policies were.
Because I didn't want Biden to get elected twice, so why would I vote for Biden 2.0? Why not vote for a different candidate?
What did you dislike about Biden?
Just all in general. Well, first off, the whole old thing. I mean, go back to that. That was ridiculous. He should have stepped out a long time ago. Let's be honest. But while he was in Canada, I understand part of it was from COVID. But a lot of my prices went up. My insurance went away. I got less wage growth. Rent went up. All of those things happened under Biden. Period. And those are all factors of Biden. I said I voted for Trump the first time because I didn't want to vote for another politician. I like the idea of something different. I voted for him the second time because I didn't know anything about Harris because she was not in the public eye long enough. Period.
Actually, everything you just mentioned is something that's happened under Trump's administration so far. Prices have gone up, inflation has gone up, wages have slowed in terms of the level of growth, GDP growth has slowed, unemployment has gone up. We had the worst year of job growth in the past 4 years. We've seen real domestic manufacturing investment decline every single quarter of Trump's administration so far. So, and also millions of people have lost their insurance. For example, in the Big Beautiful Bill, it cut 10 million people off their access to health insurance through the context of Medicaid, right? So like if you want to talk about people losing their insurance, prices going up, wage growth slowing, then that's actually exactly what's happened since Trump's got in office, and it was better off at the end of Biden's administration.
How long has Trump been in office for?
A year and a half.
Okay.
And if you compare that to the last year and a half of Biden's administration, the last year and a half of Biden's administration was objectively better amongst all those measures.
Would you objectively say that for a little while into the next presidency, the previous president is to blame for some policy being passed? It does take a while to roll things out 100%. It does take a while to counteract the previous president. It's not an instant process. So saying immediately everything that happened under Trump for the first year is all Trump's fault is, again, not realistic. Same thing for Biden, right? The first year of Biden.
Can I point to things that he did that caused that?
Yeah, come on.
Because you tried to blame all of those things on Biden, by the way. So I just want to clarify. Donald Trump specifically caused these things to happen because he started a war with Iran and because he decided to impose tariffs. Those things caused inflation. They caused growth to slow. They caused the conditions to be worse in terms of real median wage growth, real GDP growth, and they also caused inflation to go up. They caused real domestic manufacturing investment to decline every single quarter of Trump's administration so far. They've caused mass bankruptcies relating to these particular things. So, I mean, I would argue that Trump has made all of these conditions worse because of the policies he's passed, not just because of things that happened under his administration.
Okay, that's fair. But let's go back to Iran, right? do you think you are safer at night with Iran not having nuclear weapons? Because for me, I would rather pay more for gas or small things, knowing that a country, not all everybody there, but a good chunk of them, or a good, that's a high area, does not have the ability to have nuclear war. I think that is worth money.
I think that you've been misinformed and propagandized. Trump got them closer to a nuclear weapon by pulling out of the Iran nuclear deal, the JCPOA that Barack Obama established, that capped Iran's level of enrichment of uranium at 3.67%. Okay, that would be in place until 2030. That we could have then renegotiated from that position. Donald Trump got Iran closer to a nuclear weapon, and yet he tries to claim that he's stopping them from getting a nuclear weapon. That is literally just propaganda. That is not actually truthful information, and you're not representing the facts correctly.
No, I don't think you're representing the facts correctly. If a country that is run by a regime tells you, yep, we'll follow this policy, don't worry about it, do you feel safer that they're going to tell you the truth versus physically bombing the area where they no longer can do it? If those are the two options, I would much rather that area not have the capacity to make it anymore, rather than hope they keep their word.
It wasn't just us hoping. In the Iran nuclear deal, there were inspections through the IAEA. You would know this if you actually looked into the deal yourself before you criticized it.
I'm not criticizing it. The idea that a regime is going to be forthwith and give you all the evidence and tell you 100% truth.
No one ever claimed that. That's why we have inspectors in the deal.
Okay, so an inspector doesn't mean that they're seeing everything. Doesn't mean they're being told the truth. Doesn't mean they're seeing all of the nuclear plants or nuclear factories.
It is.
No way.
We were monitoring all of them, yeah.
And that's why the president chose to bomb them, because it's past the capacity that could have been withstand.
Not true.
You don't feel safer knowing they physically don't have the capacity?
The Trump administration decided to bomb them because Trump originally pulled out of the deal, which led to them building up their enrichment level of uranium, which led to us bombing them about a year ago. But by the way, since then, they haven't built up their level of enrichment of uranium. It stayed at that specific same level, right? And that's according to the Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, when she was in office, right, under the Trump administration, again, who indicated on behalf of the entire intelligence community that Iran has not been building up their nuclear program since the original strike about a year ago through Midnight Hammer. Okay. So you have to acknowledge that, one, right, there was not an imminent nuclear threat, and two, Donald Trump caused them to be closer to a nuclear weapon.
You cannot possibly know for a fact there is no imminent threat of a nuclear weapon.
That was according to U.S. intelligence, sir. So you don't believe U.S. intelligence? You don't believe U.S. intelligence?
Oh, absolutely. I don't think that U.S. intelligence tells the American people everything.
Okay, well, you might not be able to find everything, but it's the best set of information that we have about whether or not something is true relating to this.
Okay, well, hold on. So you know the American government well enough, right? Let's say this. Do you think if Iran was at the capacity potentially to bomb us with a nuclear weapon, they would be publicly saying that to all the American citizens? The answer is no. They would not want to cause fear and stuff.
That's not what we need in order for U.S. intelligence to be there.
Right, but if, let's say, hypothetically, Iran was at the capacity where they were able to make a nuke or to use it, they would most likely not tell us.
Was there any satellite imaging of people going into the area to then even go get the enriched uranium that was blown up?
Not to my knowledge, but
no.
Again,
so if there was no satellite imaging of that, no evidence of that, right, then obviously we would have pretty good reason to believe that would not be the case, right?
Again, I think that they hide enough things not to scare the American people, not to cause things like the stocks to drop, the price of things to go up. So if there was that, they still wouldn't release it. So I think the president and the higher ups, whether you agree or disagree with their thought process, if they knew, they know more information than we do. So if the
president, believe that. I don't think Trump knows much of anything.
But you have to, okay, then fine. His Security Council knows more than we do. If they deemed it was good to bomb them, I, as an American citizen, have to trust that my legislative know more information than I do.
You cannot just say the government did something, therefore I have to trust that it's good. Do you think that people in Germany should have done the same thing?
No, but that's a different story.
So then how do you make the distinction? So then how do you make the distinction of when you should be able to identify that they've gone too far and when you're just going to listen to them just because?
When it comes to the annihilation of a country, right? Iran has the capacity to bomb us completely.
Wait, you understand that's what they claimed?
I have to default
that's exactly what the Nazis claimed during World War II, is that there's an existential threat specifically to Germany, and that Germany were to be annihilated and completely destroyed if they were not to do this?
Okay, and that's probably why so many of their citizens joined in. But
Yeah, so
it's
do you understand that that's like lies that people in power will utilize in order to be able to get you to do specifically things like go to war for defense contractors and oil companies for the corporations' interests, not for the American people's interests. Our
but
interests are not specifically
but
in
you don't
going to
think
war
vice
with
versa?
Iran. We are not
You don't think
establishing
vice
a
versa
greater level
happens
of
there?
freedom for the Iranian people. We are not establishing a limitation on them getting a nuclear weapon. Nothing we're doing with the war right now is preventing any of those things.
I see. I disagree. Why is it our job to give freedom to the Iranian people? The only thing that I
That's what
want to happen is
that's what your
freedom
side
for
is
us.
claiming. That's what you guys were claiming. You guys were claiming that there's going to be regime change. Oh, we're going to free the Iranian people. We're freeing Venezuela. We're freeing everyone around the world. We're liberating the entire world. That's what you guys were claiming, okay? So I'm just
I
basing it
think
upon the
Trump
arguments
at the
that
end of
Trump and MAGA was making. If you don't say
I
you
think
agree with
Trump at
those, well,
the
then
end of the
we
day
can
puts
move past that.
Okay, fine. Let's move past it. So my other question I have for you, this is a legitimate question because I had one earlier where about the housing, right? By deporting illegal immigrants, I thought the housing market would go down. I actually heard you, and I actually think it was a pretty good valid point about how they're more in construction, and that would lower more wouldn't be built, and then they're also generally not having actual houses. I think that's a good valid point. But my point is the same thing though with medication, right? If there are more illegal immigrants in the country that are using prescriptions and doctors and those things, that does increase wait time and prices. Do you think if we were to deport all of the illegals, obviously that's a fantasy world, you can't do that. But let's say we did, do you think the price of medications and doctors would go down? Healthcare in general would go down?
No.
To me, that's one of the most important things I vote for is medication and healthcare because I'm a diabetic.
Oh, okay. So then you must support Democrats who actively want to make it cheaper, which around the world we have universal healthcare systems where they spend nearly half as much as per individual as what we spend here in this country, and they have better average health outcomes. Trump has concepts of a plan for healthcare. The Democrats actually want to expand access to universal healthcare, right? That's what they want to do. They actually have a plan. Trump had no plan. If you care about affordability as it relates to healthcare, there's no possible way you could vote for Donald Trump, the con man, who literally didn't run on a healthcare policy.
I was averaging about $185 a month for my insulin. When Trump got elected the first time, it's now $35 a month. So that's not true. My personally, my medication has gone down when Trump got elected the first time. Now it's gone up since Biden and thing because my insurance got away, but that's a different story. But my question still falls back.
You say that was nothing to do with Trump then. He only decreased it for parts of Medicare. Are you on Medicare?
No, he lowered the regulations statewide, so I'm able to buy over the counter now instead of having to have a prescription. So that's what makes it cheaper. He did that.
So you said you're able to buy over the counter rather than buying through prescription.
Yes.
Let me actually check that because I'm not sure I don't think Trump did that.
Yep, it happened during his presidency. I'm able to go to Walmart now or Kroger now and buy it over the counter. I was not previously able to do that, and it makes it dramatically cheaper. But my whole point still goes back to the illegal immigrants coming in, right? Obviously, everyone wants a secure border. I do agree with you earlier about how I think sometimes arrest people based solely off their race can be considered racist to a certain extent, right? I mean, if we're in Texas,
racist, of course.
But if we're in Texas trying to, if we have to generalize in order to make a mass deportation, you have to generalize in some way, right? I'm not picking a little girl with blonde hair.
Where did you get that it was Trump that did this? I needed a source.
It happened during Trump. Like that's when I was able
so then
to do
what's the source that specifically Trump did this?
TRICARE, I don't know. I used to use TRICARE as my insurance, the medical, and then whenever I lost TRICARE because I got too old,
I'm asking for a source that Trump did this.
It happened during his presidency. I don't necessarily have.
Does that mean it was caused by him?
I don't know one way or the other if I'm being honest, but it happened while he was in office. So for me, that saved me a lot of money. That earned some of my trust.
So let's say that happened under his administration. That does not mean it was because of him.
Again, do I think it happened was it directly a bill he signed? No. But was it a regulation happening under his presidency? Yes. So you have to default a little credit to the president, right? And the same thing, right? When a policy gets passed and it's terrible, we put the blame on the president as well. So you have to, whether he had a hand in the mix. No, you need to point
to things they did that would have caused this.
They lowered the regulation on over-the-counter prescriptions depending on what it was, and they changed the type of medication. They changed diabetic medication from like a type 1 or type 2 or from class A to class B, whatever it was. And that allowed you to get it over the counter.
Can I have a source for this?
Again, I don't have a source.
I can give you time to go look it up.
For the fact of it. But you asked me to Google something. It happened personally to me. It happened personally to me. That's why I know it happened. Again, I don't know if Trump necessarily had his hand in it, but I know the price of insulin for me, I was able to get over the counter.
By the way, I just want you to know, again, the only thing that he did was a cap for specifically parts of Medicare, which, by the way, under the under the Biden administration was extended to all aspects of Medicare.
I think you're probably right actually about that, but I'm able to go to Walmart and just say, hey, I would like this type of insulin, and they hand it to me and say, your price is $34. I was not able to do that during Obama's administration.
I understand, but that doesn't mean that Trump did that, okay? You have got to use your brain and realize there's something a little bit more than that. The only thing that Trump did was change specifically the cap for parts of Medicare. Okay, that's it. For Medicare and Medicaid, that's it. It is specifically not outside of that context. So what happened in your case is something irrespective of what Trump has done.
I'm going to give the administration in office the credit when some sort of policy passes, one way or the other, whether it's positive.
Okay, so then when unemployment went up to 14% under Trump's administration, you blame him for that. When COVID happened under his administration, you blame him for that, right?
I don't blame COVID on Trump.
Wait, why not? It happened under his administration.
That's not a policy that got passed. It's not a law or bill or something along those lines. Right?
Okay, so it's any policy that's passed. So what policy was passed that did this?
Again, I personally do not know the answer to that question.
So then you can't reference that it was a policy. You're just claiming that.
Okay, so if something happened outside of the control of a human being, so I'll give you unemployment, right?
Yeah, it could be related to your insurance, sir.
Unemployment under Trump, I would put that blame on Trump, right? Absolutely, I would. I think there's things that affect that. I think getting more jobs back internally is an important thing. That's one thing. Another reason why I voted for Trump. I think America should be first.
And how's that gone? And how's that gone for you?
Pretty
we
well,
see the worst year of job growth in the past 4 years. We saw unemployment increase. We saw real domestic manufacturing investment decline every single quarter of Trump's administration so far. So how's that gone?
Again, it's been a year, right? It is very difficult to judge a president over his 4-year tenure during that active year, because some of that is rub off.
Nearly half of his presidency so far, by the way.
That's a third, but let's say some of that is repercussions from the previous administration. That's just honest truth. If you don't realize, if you're not willing to admit that,
then you blame all the inflation that happened under Biden on Trump, right?
To a certain extent, yeah.
Okay.
Now, some of that is from COVID, right? Some of that is from COVID.
Oh, okay. Now you're willing to acknowledge that other things caused this. So
I don't judge Biden for the first 2 years very much, right? His last 2 years, I judge him. Those first 2 years.
Wait, so his last 2 years, he did better off than what Trump's done?
As of right now, sure.
Okay.
But I agree with you. If I had to look at it as a snapshot, Biden's last 2 years, Trump's first 2 years, right now, yes, I would say Biden did slightly better. But that's still, but hold on. Again, the first year or two is rollover from the previous administration.
I don't believe that's true at all.
Oh, come on. You don't think that the previous president's bills...
I would argue that the conditions have become worse because of Donald Trump's policies with the war with Iran and his tariff policy. There's nothing you could point to that Biden did that would have caused these things.
I don't know if I agree with that. I think his handling of the Middle East... I think his handling of the Middle East caused a lot of disruption in that area, which led to things like more aggravated assault on areas like Iran and Israel, things like that. I think Trump's...
Biden, that has not... That, you said the economy, that we were talking about the economic impact.
Again, it's hard, right? Because are not an instant fix, right? Well, again, I personally don't agree with him. I think that they're probably about to call to a certain extent. I like that they bring in more jobs into this country, but the way he's doing, I'm not a huge fan. But they're not an instant fix. It does take years of negotiation and planning those out to see full impact. It does. It's not an instant thing. So you're trying to judge someone with 1 year in over policies that do take a while to unroll. And I think that's, if you're talking about like a state legislation level, sure, it should be a fast thing. At a national level or worldwide level, it takes whiles for full policies to unroll. It just does, no matter who the president is. So I think it's hard to look at Trump right now and say, yep, that was a terrible decision. Yeah, but you have no idea how the impact is going to be 3 years. Just don't. So it's hard to judge current stuff right now. You have no idea what Iran was going to do 2 years down the road. We have no idea that the pact of tariffs are going to change things. You have no idea that, I don't know.
At this point, you can't blame any president for anything after you just blame Democrats for anything that happened under their administration. Come on.
I can't blame the current president for exact today predicaments. You have to give it time for different policies to unfold.
I'm pointing to specific things that he's done that has these impacts, okay? I'm not just saying it happened under his administration, therefore he caused it. I'm pointing to the very specific things that he did that caused these things. And you can sit there and play, there's no way that could have an impact. I just can't believe that there's an impact. I'm not going to recognize the impact. And it
I'm not
just
saying
doesn't
there's
land.
not an impact.
It doesn't land because we see the impact of Trump's policies.
But you don't, right? You haven't seen the full impact.
We objectively do. I'm sorry, you're just wrong.
You see the start of the impact.
No,
you're
we see
looking at
the
a race
impact.
in the middle of the race.
Okay, you know his tariffs are going away soon?
Yeah.
So then, if we have to wait a long time for them to impact things, and they're going away soon.
No, it's
Are
not
they
that
never
you're
going to
looking at
impact
it at
things
face value.
in a positive
Hold on,
manner?
You're looking at stuff. Let's use the tariffs, right? You're looking at tariffs at face value. Do you not think negotiating tariffs with other countries opens doors for different negotiations, opens different power struggles, or different things of that sort? There's more to it than just straight 3%. There's a lot more to tariffs.
Yeah,
than
I
just
don't
that.
think that
Now,
Trump
I
has
don't
any
think you'll see
accomplishments
those
when it
effects.
comes to negotiation from tariffs. Like, actually, like, what are these accomplishments?
But again, it's hard to judge it today because you haven't seen it.
Again,
You have
everybody,
to
we
give
can't
things
judge
some
him at
time.
all. No judging.
No, I'm not saying there's no judgment. Let's talk about his
No
first. We can talk about
judgment.
his,
No judgment.
No, you could judge his first time, right? It's hard to actively judge his second
No, we
term.
can judge it now.
actively in it.
Stop this bullshit. This is so embarrassing.
No,
I
you're
don't
judging
I
things
don't
that
accept that
haven't fully
argument.
rolled out.
I don't accept that argument. I think that's
Okay,
a
so
bullshit argument.
we can judge his idea to bomb Iran, right? We can judge an
That's
action,
under this
not-
administration.
I understand that. You can't judge something that's still in practice.
Did that lead to the Strait of Hormuz being closed?
I would say so, yeah.
Did that lead to prices going up?
Certain prices, yeah.
So can you blame Trump for that?
Again, I don't know if he bombed them for our safety. I would gladly pay 5 times gas if I was safer at night. Period.
But you have no evidence that you're safer, and also
But you-
we have
but you
evidence
also
that
have no
we're in
evidence
less
the
of a
other way.
safe position because of Trump.
No, you don't. There is zero evidence that says us bombing a country that has a nuclear potential to make a nuclear bomb is a bad long-term effect. There's no way you could know that today. You just can't.
Yeah, I
Now,
understand.
10 years from now, and nothing
I
ever
understand that
happens.
you keep claiming that, but like I have literally responded to this multiple times. You need to use your brain. Like actually just think for a second. If Trump got them closer to a nuclear weapon, you can't run this whole thing of, oh, Trump is preventing them from getting a nuclear weapon as a basis as to why he went to war, when we already established a limitation for them getting an enrichment of uranium past 3.67% without going to war with them. Did you know that Donald Trump said that Obama was going to go to war with Iran because he can't negotiate? Did you know that?
Okay, well, then hold on. Let me ask you this:
Take a
Do
listen
you
to
think
this.
that presidents make mistakes?
Our president
think that
will
presidents
start
make
a
mistakes?
war with Iran because he has absolutely no ability to negotiate. He's weak and he's ineffective. So the only way he figures that he's going to get reelected, and as sure as you're sitting there, is to start a war with Iran.
Wait, are you driving?
No.
Okay, then respond to that.
Would you?
How do you feel about
Here's
that?
my question. Right? Perfect. So, are people allowed to be wrong and then make new policies to make up for their mistakes?
Yes, people are allowed to be wrong and then try to engage in policies that make up for mistakes. But what you're not understanding is that Trump has never acknowledged this mistake as a mistake.
Okay, so
he's never admitted
perfect.
specifically that to be true. Along with the fact that, again, if he's the one who put us in the situation in the first place, I would not trust him to get us out of the situation when inevitably the other side is the one who actually did so originally. So that seems like a
think
foreign
you
policy
saying-
blunder. That doesn't seem like he's good at foreign policy. If you think that we can judge him based on his first administration, well, then we can judge him based on in his first administration him pulling out of the Iran nuclear deal.
Right. So, okay, let's say I think you're probably right. I think pulling out of the Iran nuclear deal was probably a mistake. And I think if you actually asked Trump honestly, he would probably tell you the same.
No,
but
he fucking wouldn't.
Hold on. Most
He does
people
not
that are in-
acknowledge what he does wrong. Like,
Most
are you
people
actually,
that are in
you actually
charge-
think he would say that? You actually think he would say,
I don't-
yeah,
I don't-
actually,
I
I
don't
was
think he-
wrong.
I don't think he
I
would
was
say
so
that.
wrong, actually. Do you think he would do that?
Not bad. I don't think he would say that in a press conference to the nation. No, because I don't think most people want to hear from their leader that they were wrong. I don't think people get that American spirit and pride. Yes, my leader was wrong. Okay, he's fixing it, but man, was he wrong? No one wants to hear that. So I think that's why a lot of times you won't see people admitting their mistakes. Now they might pass policies to fix it, which is what he did, I think. But I don't think that you're ever going to get anyone to admit that a mistake
You do
was
get
made.
people to admit mistakes. I admit mistakes.
Not
Democrats
at
admit
that
mistakes.
high of a level.
You will.
Not at that high of a level.
Democrats do admit mistakes.
Maybe like congressman. You're talking as a president, the highest level. Okay, let's look at Biden, right? He knew it was a mistake for him to rerun for a second term. He's never admitted that was a mistake. I would say that's a pretty big mistake.
Wait, he did.
Right?
He actively did.
I don't think so.
He did.
I think that they
That's
said
why he backed
did.
out,
I don't
isn't
think
it?
I don't think he did. I think they said he did. It's different. Again, like you said,
What
I
do
don't
you
think
mean
Trump
they
would
said he
openly admit
did?
it.
He said it.
I think his
He
team,
literally
his other
chose to
people-
drop out.
No, okay, let's be honest. I don't think he chose to drop out.
I
think
do
they
think he
forced
chose to
his
drop
hand.
out.
I think they backed him into a corner,
Who's
and he's
that?
like, you know what? Let's do it. I think the Democratic policy, the caucus.
Okay, so the Democratic caucus went in there and with guns, and they said, "If you don't back out, I'm going to kill you."
Yeah, that's the only way to ask someone to convince them. No, I think they went in there and said, hey, it's time. You need to admit it's time. We need to step down. If we have no chance of winning this unless we step out now, we should have done it 5 months ago. We didn't. Now it's too late, but we need to get in there. I think
So
that's
they
also
can
why
say
Trump got
that,
reelected.
but inevitably it's still Biden's choice, right?
I think you're right. I think it's his choice, but do I think he was pressured? The answer is absolutely. And I think
you could definitely say that there was pressuring within the party, of
Yeah.
course. Like, of course that existed. That doesn't mean it wasn't his choice.
To a certain extent, right? I mean, like, you can say it's a choice, but if everyone around you is saying you're going to lose and you're going to cost the party for the next 20 years if you lose, if you don't step out now, I think that you're forcing his hand. Sure, he finally said yes. Obviously, no one could force him to say yes, but there is more than just pressure. When the entire party is saying it is time, it's
Or
a
maybe
little
it's
beyond
that
your control.
the pressure that existed caused him to think differently.
Fair, that could be it too, but let's go back to
caused him
Trump.
to be like, maybe I don't have the shot to win.
But people were there the whole time. I think it got to the point where it's like, it's now or never, and he finally pulled the trigger. But I mean, same thing, right? Let's say Trump pulled out of the Iran deal, and he got pressure. Hey, maybe that wasn't a good idea. So instead of going back into it, he chose a different option. He chose to bomb Iran. You could say the same thing, right? That people are going to give him more pressure, and that could change his mindset.
But the foreign policy blunder happened here. For example, would you after what happened with the Afghanistan withdrawal trust Biden to do another one?
Probably not, to be honest. But I honestly don't.
Why not? Why not? You just said that people
hard.
can. You said that people can make mistakes and try to right their mistakes. So why wouldn't you trust him?
So, again, I think that it was. I don't know if I put too much blame on Biden on that one. I think it was just the way the system was designed to get out of there. If I'm being 100% honest,
I agree. It's not Biden, but like many Republicans will say this. They'll say,
Fair,
"Oh, I wouldn't trust Biden with this." Just because it happened under his administration, but then
I
they
think
won't apply the same standard
myself,
onto Trump, right?
I would consider myself a Republican, not a MAGA. I think MAGAs have very little. I think MAGAs have a very little.
Trump, so you are MAGA.
No, just because I vote for Trump doesn't make it I'm MAGA. There's a huge difference, right? If the choice is Trump or Harris,
say whatever
I'd
you
vote
want to
Trump.
say, but you're MAGA.
You think that all people that vote for Trump have to be MAGA?
And would
There's
vote
no
for
other
Trump
in-between?
today are MAGA, yeah.
I disagree. I have more conservative viewpoints. I have more of a different tax policy than what most Democrats would go. So I lean Republican, not MAGA. I think MAGA is
you
too
can
far
be
right.
Republican and MAGA. Aren't all MAGAs Republicans almost?
More or less, yeah. But I don't think all MAGA are Republicans. I wouldn't say all Republicans are MAGA.
Yeah, I don't dispute that.
Yeah. So I think most Republicans voted for Trump. But just because I have to choose between what is South Park saying? A shit
80%
sandwich
of
and a
Republicans
douche.
support Trump still to this day. Approve of his administration still to this day.
Okay, and I would say I'm probably still up there. But that doesn't mean I'm MAGA. I think MAGA is a lot. I think MAGA falls in. No, I think MAGA falls into people that are, I want to deport you because you're brown. I hate you because you're not Christian. I think if you want to have an abortion like that, just because I don't
so you
feel
think
as horrible about
MAGA,
that.
including Trump, wants to deport people because they're brown?
I think a lot of them do. No, do I agree with?
So
with
then why are you okay with
immigrants?
supporting that side? What?
Because I think you have to take it as is, right? I would rather deport all illegals.
Because you want to go after those that are brown.
No, it has nothing to do with being brown.
What do you mean it has nothing to do with it? You just said that your side thinks that. Now you're saying it doesn't have anything to do with that?
No. Did I say my side or did I say most MAGA? There's a difference. There's a huge difference between Republican and MAGA.
You literally are MAGA, dude.
There's two different. That's just because I'm Republican does not mean I'm MAGA. I agree with the underlying.
You agree most
causes.
of Republicans are MAGA?
I don't know if I'd say most anymore. I'd probably still say close to half, but I don't know if I'd say most.
Okay, it is overwhelmingly the Republican Party, like 80 to 90% again.
Well, to my knowledge, the people that I spend really with don't necessarily like the social side of the MAGA movement. I like the policy side of the MAGA movement. I guess would be the best way to say it. I agree we should deport immigrants, or not immigrants, sorry, deport undocumented immigrants. I do agree we should. I personally am pro-life. Now, I'm not a woman, so I don't know if I have as much of a say-so as there, but I am myself pro-life. So I would never have one. I would never let my wife or anyone I knew.
But you think it should be legal?
I think it should be at the discretion of a doctor. Yeah, I think it's a little bit loose right now. I think people like to just do it.
So legal.
Yeah, I agree. I think that
so let's clarify real quick.
I'm not a woman,
it should be legal,
so I don't get to say so.
Then you're pro-choice.
I am pro other.
So then you agree with
sure.
Kamala Harris.
I think most people, even in the world now, whether what side you're on, still agree there should be some level of choice, right? I think you're crazy MAGAs.
Do you think in elective circumstances should it be a choice?
Well, yeah, I think in elective circumstances, yes.
Elective. So you just think it should be legal across the board. If you think it should be legal across the board, you're pro-choice, Rev.
I don't know if I say it should be legal across the board, right? I think I know a lot of people that have used it as just birth control. That I think is crazy,
Really?
right?
So,
I don't think that should be.
How would someone afford that? Because that's really expensive.
What do you mean?
It's really expensive to like use it as birth control. Just
It's
like
not
all the
that
time,
expensive.
right? Like
no, I'm not saying they're using it on a daily basis, but they sleep around, they get pregnant a month in, they're like, oh crap, I can't take a Plan B anymore. I got to get rid of this thing. Here's $500. I think people use that.
yeah,
a lot
I have no
more
issue
than
with
it's
someone
realized.
getting an abortion in that situation. What's wrong with that?
I think at that point you're using your not experience, but juvenileness to kill a life. So at the end of the day,
Okay,
once
so
you
why do you
combine
want that
two DNA,
person
it's
taking
life.
care of a kid then?
I don't.
If you think they're
I
so
absolutely don't.
juvenile, why do you want them taking care of a kid?
No. So if it was up to me, if I was in charge of the country tomorrow, I would have so much funding into foster homes and adoption. I think that is where we fall flat as a country.
Where are Republicans advocating for that? They're not advocating
there's
to
a lot
expand
of-
child
there-
care services.
you-
They're not
if you-
advocating to expand access to foster care.
Absolutely they
They're
are.
not
If you watch
advocating to
any-
expand access to health care, which would then make
I think
it less
almost every
costly because of the
Republican you
context
ask
of the
is very
pregnancy
supportive
and
of
birth
adoption.
process.
I think every person you ask is very supportive of adoption. And I think if we took the funding that we use towards things like early stage abortion and put that towards the
But
back
as
end,
of right
you'd
now,
have
with
more
the
funding.
standards that exist right now, right, are you comfortable with sending like millions of people to foster homes with how the current system is?
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not.
So then do you believe with pro-choice then?
No, I wouldn't say I'm pro-choice. I'm pro-birth, right?
You're
I think
pro-birth, so you're pro-forced birth.
a forced birth is a choice you made. You talked
Okay,
earlier about
so then,
choices, right?
do you think it should be illegal to get access to an abortion in elective circumstances?
No. I think
No.
if in
So it
cases
should
like
be legal.
incest,
So then you're
rape, life of a mother-
pro-choice.
No, I am not pro-choice. I would never allow
Sir.
anyone I
When
know to
okay,
get
let me
one
clarify.
program.
When I say pro-choice, I mean from a legal perspective. Are you legally pro-choice?
I'm so much in the middle. It's hard for me to give you an honest answer. To be honest, I would say I am pro-choice for instances that are elective. Right? Yes, I think we need to regulate it dramatically. You should not be getting
elective means like a situation where it's not like necessary. It's not life of the mother.
Okay, I'm sorry.
It's not
My
rape.
mistake. So
It's
the
not
other way
one of
around,
those
right?
exceptions.
So things like grape, things like
Hey,
life
buddy,
of the mother.
let me
things
just clarify to you. Like, if my
Yeah.
girlfriend got pregnant and I paid for her abortion, should I go to jail?
No,
Okay, so that's pro-choice.
I don't think it should
then.
be. I don't think it should
You're
be a thing.
you are
I don't
pro-choice
think
then,
you should be
sir.
able. I don't think you should be able to get one. It shouldn't even be
Okay.
a choice. You
Okay,
shouldn't
well,
be
the
able
reality
to get
is that people
in
are
that
going to
situation.
get them. So if someone gets them through the black market, what are you going to do?
nothing.
Nothing. So then it's not illegal.
Okay, it's like saying, oh, if I get drugs to the black market, it's not illegal. Yes, it is. It's still
Well, there
illegal.
would be punishment, right?
Right, but death is not a punishment for whatever it is.
You're not listening, dude. The point that we're making is that literally people are still going to get abortions. It's just going to cause people to get abortions in unsafe ways, right? Rather than causing people to actually not get abortions. If you want to cause people to not get abortions, reduce the reason why people need abortions in the first place. How about expand access to childcare, expand access to healthcare, right? Make
Do you
things
think
more
if we
affordable
had
for the average
significantly
person.
more funding-
Reduce the
hold on,
burden
do
on
you-
families.
Do you think if we had significantly more funding on the back end, like adoption or child care, or, foster homes, things like that, astronomically more funding, do you think there would be as many abortions?
No, there wouldn't be as many abortions.
Okay, so why aren't we doing that? So instead of doing policies to keep
Is that
funding
not what I just
abortions,
said?
why? But instead of having
Wait,
policies
what
that
policy
fund
funds
care,
abortion?
we have Planned Parenthood that's funded, correct?
Wait. The Hyde Amendment does not allow for federal funds to be used for abortions. That's
No,
just
I'm not talking.
happening.
Hold on, I'm not talking about government funding. Most of Planned
Okay.
Parenthood is donations, correct? Why aren't we
Dude, I
putting
don't-
those same donations?
I don't have an
towards
issue with.
Akron?
I think people should have abortion access. I think that's a good thing.
I personally don't. Now, again, I am not a woman. I do not believe, for any case, I should have say-so on policies that do not directly or even indirectly affect me. I will never be pregnant. I don't think I should get a say-so. Same as like a lot of these policies even for immigration. I am not a Mexican-American trying to cross over. I don't feel I should have a lot of say-so in that. That doesn't necessarily mean I agree. I just don't think I should have a say-so in it.
Okay, so then if you don't think you should have a say-so, why the f are you saying something about it right now on the stream? Like, do you
You
realize
wanted
it makes
to debate.
no
You want to talk
sense
about
with
our
the
ideas.
argument you're making? You brought it up
I'm
first,
talking.
didn't
You
you?
asked about my thought process. I'm giving it to you.
Sir, you brought it up first, didn't you?
I can't remember now, to be honest with you, but
Yeah,
maybe.
you brought up abortion first, and then now you're arguing you don't think you should even have a say on it? I mean, I do think that men should speak up about abortion, but for expanding abortion access, that's what I think men should speak up for, right? I don't think men should have positions in terms of restricting people's access Tina, thank you for the fireworks. But I do think men
Yeah,
should
I
have
think we should
positions on
speak up
this.
about
They
the
should just have the
after
right
facts.
position on it, right?
I
Which
think we
means
should.
which means to
I'd like to
allow
speak up
for
for the
access to
the other
abortion.
half.
What's up?
Okay. I think we should speak up for funding the back half. I think there's not enough funding that goes towards
Wait,
adoption, foster care, and early childhood.
That's another. Now, there's a totally good argument there. Now, that's not limiting people from getting access to abortion, though. That's expanding access to resources for individuals, right? So
Right, that's what I believe in.
Democrats agree with that. Okay, so when you're
So
not.
well, hold on. So you can say Democrats agree to that, but why then things like I'll talk about, the whole daycare thing up in, Ohio, whatever the hell it was. Why are we still funding places instead of using that funding towards things like adoptions like that? I think having stricter regulations on places that are fraudulent,
Sir.
That's what Republicans want to do. Funneling that money back towards things like adoption is the best thing we could be doing. And I think there's too much talk about the abortion side. We're not talking about the after effect side. That's the issue with the government right now. And a lot of that does come from Democrats because they are focusing primarily on the adoption side, or excuse me, the abortion side.
Democrats allow or go after fraud. They investigate fraud. There's nothing that limits them from doing so. Donald Trump has pardoned multiple fraudsters. You know that, right?
Okay.
Can you point
Yeah, so
to
has every
anything in
president.
specific that Democrats have done that have allowed for more fraud to happen?
I mean, the entire scandal of stuff in Ohio right now falls on a Democrat.
You're thinking Minnesota.
What's his name? The dang vice president wannabe is the one in charge of the state. Don't you think that falls on his plate? That's mistakes that are happening and fraud that is happening under a very large umbrella?
No, I don't think Tim Walz is at fault at all for fraud that happened within a state when he allowed for investigations to happen, right? And he helped them happen. Like, there's nothing.
So
he
then where
did
does the
prevent-
blame? Then where
There's
does the blame
nothing.
fall?
You need to listen. There's nothing he did to prevent people from investigating fraud.
Okay, where does the blame fall then? If there's millions and billions of dollars of fraud in his state, where does the blame fall?
It would be specifically, they need to rework. They need to see what the fraud is. They need to investigate it, criminalize it, and then say, oh, how can we structure these systems specifically to then respond to that? Where does the blame land? The people who committed the fraud themselves. Is that complicated?
Okay, but what are we doing to stop that? Agreed. I agree with you.
What did I just tell you? What did I just tell you? You can do things then to cause more investigations. You can try to enforce it, and hold people accountable.
After the fact. I'm talking about now.
Yeah,
why do we not have policies in place to fix that?
That's something that we're
before it
doing
happens?
now. And then I also said that
Right,
you
but why
rework
didn't we do that
policies to
before
then
millions
prevent
of
it from happening in the
dollars?
first place. Wait, because you can't estimate. You don't have a crystal ball. You don't know which policies or how it's going to set up is inevitably going to lead to fraud. There could be systems that inevitably exist, and some people can try to take advantage of them, and then we're going to hold people accountable in those circumstances. That's how the law works.
Why did it take so long and only after other Republicans were stepping in before it's found? That's why
That's
I
just
say
not
the
true.
blame lands
That's
with
not
Democrat
true.
leadership.
That's not true. The
You
federal
don't think that
government-
interview that he did of the
You're
Leering
wrong.
Center or
Listen.
whatever started all of the
Wrong.
all of it?
No, investigations were happening throughout the entirety of the Biden administration. Okay, you're just wrong.
Yeah, investigations happen on a daily basis of everything, but obviously they weren't
can you
working.
like stop yapping for a second and just listen? Let me fully get out a point. I just want you to stop just for a second. Let me go through all this. They went through, they investigated it. There's nothing that they prevented in terms of investigating it. Nick Shirley's video didn't do jack shit for getting more people convicted for fraud. Like, nothing. It did absolutely nothing.
I don't think it had anything about getting
Shut up.
convicted.
All it did is cause more people to have commotion in the area, which led to U.S. citizens being murdered in broad daylight by ICE.
I disagree with that completely. I think it absolutely shined a light. Sure, they might have already been investigating it. That absolutely shined a light on what was happening to a large scale. Would you say before that interview, most Americans knew about that fraud? I would say the answer is absolutely not. After that, now most Americans do.
What you're not understanding is that what he was showing in that video actually wasn't fraud. Okay, for example, the learning center that you're particularly referencing, that wasn't fraud. It was specifically in violation of other things. Okay, so there were investigations relating to that, and there were constant investigations into these things. So, like, the fact that you're saying that there were no investigations, that maybe Tim Walz was a part of allowing this to happen, is not justified at all. And if that was true, there would be charges against him.
Why do you think he's stepping down? You don't think he takes blame himself?
Why do I think that? No, I think that the reason why he's stepping down is because of the harassment that was targeted at him and his family, because of people that have been believing this thing, like that you're believing right now, right? Specifically from individuals' videos such as Nick Shirley. I think Nick Shirley literally caused a harassment. I think Nick Shirley caused a harassment campaign against Tim Walz that inevitably got him to think about his family, the impact that it has on his family, and then the reason why he didn't continue is because of that impact on his family. That is the reason why Tim Walz did that, 100%.
I'm not disagreeing with you. I don't think the whole Nick Shirley thing was valid. I know it wasn't. I've looked a lot into it, but I do think it shined a light on what was happening fraud-wise. And I think that's an important thing. That's why we should have investigations on both sides of the aisle.
I disagree. I think it led to a harassment campaign targeted towards Tim Walz. I think it's not led to any more accountability. I think it led to U.S. Citizens dying in broad daylight. I think it's led to lots of commotion. I don't think it's actually solved anything.
Do you think more Americans know about the fraud there than they did before? If the answer is yes, then it obviously worked to a certain extent. Period. That's the truth. You're all about transparency and having more knowledge to the American people. If there is massive fraud going on in the state,
I actually don't think that, because I think that there's so much misinformation that video spread specifically about fraud that it actually hasn't even brought light to actual fraud, but rather brought light to misinformation, right, and propaganda. Not actual fraud.
Well, I think that's because of stupidity, not because of...
No, I just want to be clear. So, like, I do think that it was not productive for the discourse to get more people to actually learn about fraud in the first place. I don't think that they expanded the knowledge base. I heavily dispute that.
So you think having less information about different topics?
No, I think that it gave us less information because it made the information so skewed and misinformed.
I think it rose a curtain that people didn't even know what was behind it. Now, you're right. I think it did pass.
I have a question. What does that do?
It gives information to people, right? So we're looking. Okay, great. So you're talking yourself about childcare and how we need more funding towards that. We need to have more help on the back end. If we're wasting millions or hundreds of millions of dollars because of fraud, you don't think shining a light on that, not only A, so we know how much fraud there is, and B, we're aware that
there was already investigations into it, bud.
But you say that, but no, most Americans didn't know that. Most Americans, and I'm sure the investigations have
most
gone
Americans
up.
don't need to know about all the investigations that are happening in order for them to actually be happening.
I disagree. I think.
Wait, do you know about all the investigations that are happening all across the entire country? No, you don't. Yet they still are happening. Okay.
Okay. Do I think that I would have more information by knowing about them? The answer is yes.
Yeah, but that doesn't change anything. Would you be
thing.
able to do anything with that information is the real question. What does that information do for you? What does that information do for our society? Does it prevent fraud from happening in the future? Or does it just cause more people to utilize fraud as a propagandistic political message in order to be able to perpetuate their ideological beliefs when inevitably they haven't prevented fraud to any greater extent?
It gives me more information.
And they vote for people that literally have pardoned fraudsters. Again, like I said, Nick Shirley supports Trump. Trump has pardoned multiple fraudsters, okay? The idea that specifically people who are Somali are responsible for so much fraud is embarrassing, dude. This guy Trump is a draft dodger. He literally falsified business records in order to prevent stories coming out relating to the hush money payments he paid to Stormy Daniels. This guy is a fraudster. Okay, to act like anything other than that is ridiculous.
You asked, why is that information useful? Because if I'm going to vote for something or someone or different policies, the more information that I have, the more of an educated vote that I can pass. I don't think it's American.
Name two policies of Kamala Harris.
Oh, the one I did like was she was trying to build more houses to help, lower the rent cost. I liked that one. And then other than that, I honestly don't know any. Again, I fall back on.
So you know what I mean? Knowing more is going to be so useful, but yet you don't know jack shit about Kamala Harris's policies. Plus, you didn't even know it was a tax credit for first-time home buyers for new homes.
You're missing the whole point. The fact that I don't know her policies. The fact that I don't know her policies shines light on she did not campaign long enough for most Americans to understand her policies. Sure,
Wrong.
I could go look it up and I can deep dive.
Wrong. You just didn't do research.
But I didn't do any research on Trump.
You're just a lazy piece of shit. Stop complaining, right? When you could have done the research. Like, what are you talking about?
But I shouldn't.
Stop blaming everyone but yourself.
Why you're not taking any accountability?
That is your fault. I'm sorry.
You're not taking any accountability for
because it wasn't our fault. It wasn't our fault. It was your fault.
You don't think Trump is in office right now because of a lack of campaigning on Harris's part? You're mistaken. You're just wrong.
Actually, in this situation, it was you because you didn't do the research. She talked about her policies. She did describe what her policies were. You could have watched. Listen, hey, listen for a second. Stop talking. Okay. You could have actually watched the debates. You could have looked at her policy website. She had the policies there. You did no research. The issue here is you, and the fact that we have so many Americans in this country that are unwilling to take any accountability for the lack of information that they had going into this election is we need voter accountability in this country.
We need political accountability.
It is not
He didn't spread her message.
Please shut the f up. Please be quiet.
It's that
Taylor,
simple.
Shut the f up. Listen, I've let you speak. Please shut the f up. Okay? So again, It is not every single circumstance just the politician's fault. Can I point to accountability on behalf of what Democrats could have done to expand their message to more people? Absolutely,
Please.
I can point to those things. But in this explicit case we're referencing right now, this is your fault. Take accountability. You did no research. You don't know a single policy that she ran on because you are a dumbass that did no research. It's your responsibility.
If you're okay, you're fair. It is my responsibility as a voter to have more information. But would you admit that most Americans have very little voting information going into it? The answer is yes. So it falls on the Democratic Party that they did not have more of a plethora of time and information out there the way that the Republican Party did. That's true. If you don't think,
Okay,
can you at least admit
that blame falls on both.
Fair,
both
but
the
could you at least
voter
admit that
and
Republicans...
the politician that's running. You can understand that. But by the
Yeah.
way, you can only do so much in terms of trying to explain a message. Like, she literally did explain her policies. What more do you think she should have done?
Let me ask you this one question.
What more do you think she should have done? Answer the question.
She should have campaigned sooner. I think Biden should have dropped out sooner.
So Biden should have dropped out. So it's Biden's fault.
Yes.
I don't
to a certain extent,
that.
yeah, absolutely.
But how is that Kamala Harris then? How is that the Democrats as a whole?
It's not Kamala Harris's fault. And I truly believe, because here, I voted for Trump, then I voted for Biden, then I voted for Trump. I truly believe if Kamala would have gotten out there sooner and she would have spread her message sooner.
So wait, by the way, you only voted against Trump when it came, or you only voted for Trump when it came to him running against women.
I voted for Trump the first time because I voted for Trump the first time because I wanted a candidate that was not a politician. I voted for him the second time because I did not know enough about Harris to vote for her. That's why.
Yeah, but why'd you vote for Biden?
I voted for Biden because I didn't think that Trump handled COVID as well as he should have. And for me as a medical person, I did not like that handling of it.
So that's why I voted for Trump. By the way, that was too much for you, but you overlooked him undermining our country's democracy, calling for the termination of the Constitution.
I don't think he did.
Literally, all of those other things that he did. You overlooked all of those
I don't think
things.
he undermined it. I think you disagree with his politics.
Really?
So you're saying
really? Wait, hold on. You don't think he undermined the 2020 election? You don't think he sent?
Yeah.
You don't think he sent false slates of electors to electoral college to cast Trump votes when he didn't win to try to steal the election?
Not as bad as I think it's been politicized, to be honest. But no. Do I think he handled it wrong? Hell yeah. Do I think that Biden won the election? Absolutely. But that doesn't mean that I still support those policies better. Right? People can make mistakes, and it's not a matter of I absolutely love Trump. He's the greatest person in the world. Out of the two candidates that I had, I thought Trump would do a better job than Harris because I had more information because I had a longer time to see him, longer time to know what he ran for. Harris, not her fault, Biden's fault, but did not have enough time to, go out and campaign enough. She just didn't.
As a medical professional, I can't believe that you voted for a guy that literally said we should look into disinfectant by injection to fight COVID-19 for president. Like, I genuinely can't fathom a medical professional hearing that and being like, you know what? That makes sense. I should vote for this guy. This guy's qualified to be president. As a medical professional, you really did that?
Here's my thing.
He said he drinks Diet Coke because he thinks it kills cancer because it kills grass.
Yes. Do I think that he is the smartest man in the world? The answer is no. Again, that's why I'm a Republican.
Wait, that's a lot farther from the smartest man in the world. More like the dumbest man in the world. Holy shit!
I don't know the dumbest man in the world.
Can you acknowledge that?
At the end of the day, he's still a very rich man with a high political level. You have to give some credit.
Who's the leader of the HHS right now?
Oh dear God! Don't get me started on him.
What do you mean? Don't get me started on him. This is your responsibility. This is who you voted for.
No, I voted against Harris because I didn't know what she stood for. Period.
And then you got Trump and RFK.
Now, I voted for Trump. I sure as hell didn't vote for RFK.
You did vote for RFK because he was a part of the candidacy.
There's no way for me to take him off the ballot, so I didn't vote for him.
You could vote for Harris.
Yeah, again, I didn't agree with what Harris was standing for, and I didn't know enough about her to vote for her. That's it. At the end of the day, you have to take some.
At the point that you're at right now, do you have enough information to say that she's a better candidate?
It's an impossible question because there's no way to know how she would have done if she was in office. There's no way to truly figure that out, right?
It's not an impossible question.
Do I think housing wise, Harris might have been a better candidate? The answer is probably yes. Okay, I can admit that. I think
housing overall?
I don't know overall, right? Again, I don't know enough for policies. She didn't do a good enough job campaigning. She didn't.
She did. You just did no research. Again, why do you keep saying that after she literally did say these things at the debates? She literally had a 70-plus page policy website.
3 months.
You just said it wasn't her fault. You just said it wasn't her fault, and now you just blamed her and said that she didn't run a good campaign.
No, she didn't run long enough. I didn't say she didn't run a good campaign. She didn't run long enough to get her information out to enough.
Do you want me to play back what you just said? How dishonest, dude.
I said she didn't run long enough. That's what I said. She only ran for 90 days. That's not long enough to run for president.
It was 107 days. And also, you said that she didn't run a good enough campaign because you didn't know her policy.
Okay. Do you not think that those go hand in hand? Not running long enough and not running good enough probably go hand in
No,
hand.
they don't.
If I'm trying to get my message out for as long as humanly possible, me campaigning for
Good
2
would be
years is
relative
going
to
to be
what you
better than
can
90
do.
days.
Good would be relative to what you can do.
Fair. But do you, okay, let me ask this. Do you think if Harris would have campaigned from the get-go and Biden would have said, hey, I'm only doing 1 term, after this, Harris is going to go, do you think the odds of her winning would have gone up astronomically?
If she had more time to run?
Yes.
Sure, yeah. But like,
Okay,
what,
so
what you're not,
that's all I was getting at. I think that's what the
I
Democrats
understand,
would
but
do.
what you're not getting at is you're not giving a reason why you are justified in not voting for her.
I will never vote for
You're
someone
giving
that I
a
don't know
reason that
enough
we could
about.
understand how people might not have been able to vote for her as much because less people would have seen her. That is true, but it is still your duty as an American, given your voting, to do research, dude. It's so embarrassing that people want to constantly blame, right, everyone but themselves in these scenarios because it's so blatantly obvious that you did no research. You still haven't done research to this day, okay? You could have fucking watched my stream. You could have looked at her policy website. You could have watched the debates. You could have done anything. You could have watched any of the interviews.
Hold on. I gave
you
her
didn't do
the
a single
same
fucking
amount.
one of those things.
I gave her the same amount of research that I gave every candidate. What I saw and what I had. I didn't go to anyone's website. I didn't do any of that. But because she wasn't in long enough, I
Maybe
had
you should
more
do that for the
information about
future,
Trump.
bud. Hey, buddy, maybe you should start doing that for the future because maybe that doesn't
Or the
inform you
Democrat
enough.
Party could run a candidate from the get-go, not sub somebody in because a man's too old.
Embarrassing. Do you see how you constantly
It is
blame other
embarrassing
people
they
instead
didn't
of
put her
blaming
in
yourself?
sooner.
This is it's so annoying dealing with people like you.
You're going
Like,
to blame an
honestly.
individual voter for a
Yes,
for a
I'm going to blame you.
presidential candidate.
Yes, I blame you. I absolutely blame you.
Last minute.
Wait, I'm sorry. You take no responsibility for your actions. How embarrassing. Genuinely.
What about
you
the
have
Democratic Party?
You are literally, you're like
sooner.
a toddler with the incapability of taking any accountability for the lackluster laziness that you did with no research in the election.
You're so far left, you can't take any accountability.
This isn't not being far left. It's me saying you did no research, dude.
Absolutely it is. You won't take any accountability for a lack in a party.
Wait, by the way, I already told you. I do see that there are things that they could have done better when it comes to running the election and running the campaign. But in this scenario, this is your unwillingness to take accountability at all. This problem with you was yourself, was not the Democrats. They did explain what their policies were. If they had more time, could they got the attention of more people? Sure. But that doesn't change the fact that you did have enough time to look it up from an individual basis, and you chose to do no research because you cared more about sitting on the couch and being lazy than actually pulling yourself up by your bootstraps and doing that. Ironic that the conservatives and the Republicans are being lazy, right? Are the actual ones that are lazy, right? It was projection all along, huh? You have to unmute your mic. Click the microphone in the bottom right. Joe, thank you for the $6. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Donald Trump committed more fraud last week alone than the entire Minnesota fraud scandal. You know what? That might be true. Jake, thank you for the $11. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Get some W's for them in the comment section right now. Thank you. I'll have to see that. That's absolutely crazy.
Well, Parker,
Carlene, thank you so much for
does have to go to work because I'm not lazy, but...
Carlene, thank you for the $5. Joe, thank you for the $6. Thank you very much. Postos, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Thank you for the Positos, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Thank you for the $10. Thank you very much. Get some W's for them in the comment section right now. Thank you. It's a different brand of insulin. That makes sense.
Different, good.
As well as Bad Wolf. Thank you for the $5. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Get some W's for them in the comment section as well. Thank you. Trevor, thank you for the $5. Thank you. I really appreciate it. Abby, thank you so much. I really appreciate the $5. Thank you. Alan, thank you for the $5. Carly, thank you so much for the $5. Brittany, thank you for the $2. Casey, thank you so much for the $10. Thank you. The littlest, thank you so much. I really appreciate the $2. Thank you. I know, right? Taffy, thank you for the $5. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you so much. As well as Trevor, thank you for the $5. Thank you very much. Keone, thank you so much for the $25. Good to see you as always. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Thank you. That's why it's important to be pro-choice. Chloe, thank you so much for the $10. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. Thank you. That is very true as well. We definitely need a rework to the system. Totally agree with you there.
I agree.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. Thank you. As well as Janae, thank you for the $5. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, Parker. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you very much. Lou, thank you for the £5. Dila, thank you for the $5. Major, thank you for the $10. Dila, thank you for the $10. Emerald, thank you for the $5. Trevor with the $5. Thank you. And Vicky, thank you for the $2. And Data, thank you for the $3. Thank you.
I think it'd be better if you were a little more honest at the lack of
Taylor, I think that you are incredibly dishonest, and I have explained to you and been very nice to you and explained how you're wrong. I think that you are honestly an incredibly dishonest and bad faith debater. You never
Okay.
can admit any defeat. You can't.
I admitted like 20 times when you
No,
were
you
right
didn't.
about different things. Absolutely, I
Sir,
did.
you literally are not willing to admit that you did not do enough in order to be able to then educate yourself,
No,
and that it
I
was
literally
not the
flat out said
Democrats' fault with
I
not
said you're
saying their
right. I could
policies,
have done
and
more.
instead it
I
was
said
your
I could have
fault
done more
with not going and looking up
research.
their policies. The fact that you don't know any policies is your fault, not theirs, because they told their policies, they described them, you had plenty of days to go find
I'm
them.
not the
It
one
is your fault.
campaigning to vote. I'm not the one campaigning to vote. They
Yeah,
are
but you're the one
campaigning to
voting,
get
so
my
you have to
vote.
go
But
research.
they are campaigning to get my vote. So it
Yeah,
falls
I
on
understand.
them to
And they
give me
did
the
campaign,
information.
and they did do the debate, and you just didn't watch it.
I watched every single debate.
No, you didn't.
Yes, I did. I
Well,
said
fucking
that
shit.
multiple times.
No, you didn't. You want me to play the clip? The first
You
question
literally
asked
said,
to
"Did
her?
you watch the debates?" I said yes. I
Wait,
said
sir.
I didn't do any research on
There's
the
no
website,
way you
but
watched
I
the
did.
debates because in the first question she was asked, she described multiple of her policies. So
No,
you
no,
didn't retain anything.
your question wasn't whether or not I had heard what she said. It's what do you remember as her policies that you agree with? I don't remember her policies because they didn't
Well, the
stick with me
first,
because they
literally,
weren't there long enough. Do you think
by
you
the way, when
remember
you say
stuff
there
more?
long enough, I'm sorry. Just do research and look into it prior. Don't
But
just say
again,
that you.
it's
so
if you're
ridiculous, bro.
if you're getting given a message for a year or two, you're going to remember that message longer. If she didn't have enough
I
time to get a message,
understand, but that still doesn't mean you didn't have the time to do research. Like, think about it
It's
this
not a
way.
matter about doing the
Think about it this
research.
way.
It's
If you're in a class and you have a teacher, okay? You have a
Perfect.
specific test. You have a specific amount of time to study for the test. You could have said,
Absolutely.
"Oh, if I listened to this information longer, I could have done better on the test."
Yes.
But then they say, "Oh, there's a specific deadline on the test. You had this time to study. You had plenty of time to study. You could have looked it up. You were just a lazy piece of shit."
So okay, same analogy. If you're a teacher and you tell me the day before the test the information, and you expect
That's
me
not
to
what
remember
happened.
it,
If
but
you had
in the
107 days,
scheme of an
wait.
scheme of an
If you have a
election,
test, if you have a
100
test,
days
sir,
is nothing.
if you have a test and you had 107 days to study, do you think that you would have been
Hold
held
on. So
accountable for not?
she announced her
You had
candidacy
107 days to study. You had 107 days
She
to study.
announced her candidacy 107 days out.
You
She
had
didn't
3
actually
months.
start
You had
campaigning.
over 3 months.
She didn't
3.5
actually
months,
start
bud.
campaigning.
Hey, 3.5 months, bud.
You're being disingenuous now.
3.5 months of study. Didn't have
She
enough.
announced her campaign at 107 days.
3.5 months.
She didn't actually start campaigning
3.5
until
months
about
of study
60
wasn't
days.
enough. 3.5 months wasn't enough.
She announced her campaign
3.5
days out.
months
She
wasn't
did not
enough,
actually
really?
start campaigning until 60 days out. Be honest.
3.5 months.
Again, she announced her candidacy.
This is how
107
much
days
accountability
out.
there is for him.
I said I didn't look up her stuff. Well, even though I'm agreeing with you, but she
is your
did not
fault. Can you admit
campaign
fault?
for 107 days.
Can you admit it's your fault?
I literally just said you're right. I did not study it. I didn't look into her information.
So it is your fault.
Do I take some credit? Sure. But again, I'm not campaigning to give her my vote. She's campaigning to get my vote.
Okay, so
It's
how
different.
about you want me to tell you the policies?
Sure, I always love to hear about policies.
Yeah, $6,000
But
child
but
tax
it also
credit.
but I hate to say it, at this point it also doesn't matter, right? Realistically, she's not going to run again.
Hey, how about
And
you listen, bud?
Go ahead.
$6,000 child tax credit for the first year of a child's life, $3,600 through them being 5 years old, $3,000 through them being 18, $25,000 tax credit for first-time home buyers for new homes, $2,000 cap on pharmaceuticals out of pocket, $35 cap on insulin for everyone per month, $50,000 tax deductible for small businesses in the first year of them starting out, expanding access to healthcare through a universal healthcare system. I can give countless examples. Those are all policies she ran on, right? Yet you didn't know any of them. Why? Because you did absolutely zero research when running.
Again,
When she was running.
Again, you want me to take accountability that I didn't do enough research. Will you take more accountability that it falls on her and the Democratic Party for not campaigning longer? At the end of the day, I actually agree.
I do agree it falls on Biden for not dropping out earlier, and
Yes.
and he should have never ran in the first place.
Yeah, you are right. I'll give you that. It's 100. I'll take back what I said. You're right. It's not Kamala's fault. It is absolutely Joe Biden's fault. You are right 100% on that.
Okay. So then, what's your point with this?
I still think that's where it fell flat. Everyone could blame, votes on Trump or whatnot. I think if they would have stepped up sooner, I think she probably might have won. I think the lack of information.
Say that
falls
all
on
you
the Democratic
want.
Party.
My concern is why you didn't vote for her, why you didn't support her. So given that you hear these policies now, do you think that she's a better candidate?
Do I think she would have done better for things like, again, all of those are policies, right? God knows how many actually would go into effect, first off. But do I agree that she would have done better for healthcare and for housing? The answer is probably. But
Yeah, and
one
are
of
those
my
things you
big,
care about when voting for president?
oh, absolutely, yeah, 1,000%. But do I care more about border security? I think the answer is yes. And I think she fell flat on the border security side, whereas Trump was stronger. So I think that's another reason why I went with him.
That's not true. She actually wanted the bipartisan border bill that would have specifically secured the border and would have made the legal process go quicker. Donald Trump undermined that bill.
I think the
Called for people
entire
in Congress
border.
to undermine the bill. He said, blame it on me if the border bill fails.
I think the entire border policy is falls flat because we have too many illegal immigrants coming in. So we're not able to process them to the court fast enough. So we're not able to change the policy to allow them to come in faster.
How did that respond to what I just said?
I think it's easy to say if she passed that bill, it would have fixed everything. I don't think it would have. Until I think we're able to get out the vast majority of them, then redo the process to allow them to come in easier with more courts able.
This would be a long-term
That's
address.
a long one.
This would be a long-term address. So
Yeah,
yes,
absolutely.
I do think it would have done something. To claim it wouldn't have done anything is ridiculous, especially because you
I
could
didn't say,
have
I
had
didn't,
this.
I, hold on, I didn't say it would do nothing.
Especially because you could have had this, plus there being an executive order on the top. So any executive order he did, he could have done as supplemental to this legislative policy.
Again, I don't think it would have done nothing. I think that you have to force them out first, then you can rework it. It's impossible to rework it while we have such a high level. And I think that's what Trump is trying to do. Now, is he doing it perfectly? Hell no. Is he trying to get it done that way? The answer is yes. For me, that's important. That's why one of the reasons why he got my vote. I think sometimes you have to be strong-armed to get things done correctly before you're able to go back and rework the system.
Okay,
But hey, I really do have to go,
strong
partner.
arm.
It's
That
been a-
means him undermining something that would have literally allowed for us to address the conditions.
There's no
of the
way to
border at a
know how
greater
it would have
extent.
panned out. There's no way to know how it would have panned out, so it's hard to say that it would have worked perfectly. But hey, it really has been a pleasure. I actually do like you. I like your content. I do think there's things that we disagree on, but it's actually been, I have to go to work. You have a good one, man.
All right, later, bud.